1. The miracle of practicing patience. 100 times. Anything people do is recorded and will undoubtedly be repaid with either good or bad karma. The following story reminds us that enduring any hardship with patience can lead to everlasting happiness. During the Tang dynasty, there lived a man named Zhang Gongning who could endure hardships beyond the average person's capability. He vowed to practice extraordinary patience 100 times throughout his life, and he upheld this vow daily. Thus, he was known as Zhang Bai Ren, meaning 100 acts of patience. Zhang Bai Ren never argued with others in his dealings. He was strict with himself but generous towards others. Over many years, he endured a total of 99 acts of extraordinary patience, with just one more to fulfill his vow. On the day his grandson got married, Zhang invited many friends to the wedding feast. As lunchtime approached, a beggar arrived. Zhang said, "Do not trouble him. Give him some food and let him leave after eating." The servant reported that the beggar wished to sit with all the guests. Zhang found this request peculiar but agreed. Wearing a dirty and smelly monk's robe, the beggar entered, approached Zhang and said, "Thank you for your generosity. Today is your grandson's wedding, and I came especially to congratulate him. However, I have another request to dine with your most honored guests." Hesitant, Zhang eventually agreed and introduced the beggar to the wedding officiant, telling everyone, "Today is my grandson's wedding. I am grateful to all who have come. This elderly man has just arrived and wishes to join us. Please show kindness and make room for him." The beggar insisted, not just any seat, but one among the most honored guests. Zhang asked, "Why are you so adamant about sitting in the honored guests section? The seat I arranged for you is also for important guests." The beggar's words struck a chord with Zhang, who then thought, "I vowed to endure 100 unbearable acts. Why let this minor issue bother me?" He apologized to the beggar and asked the guests to allow the beggar to sit in the honored seat, reassuring them not to worry about any inappropriate comments he might make. Everyone agreed. After the feast, when all guests had left, the beggar remained. Zhang approached and offered him to spend the night, suggesting he sleep in the kitchen. The beggar refused, demanding a proper place to sleep. Zhang offered the living room, but the beggar insisted on sleeping in the bridal chamber, requesting the newlyweds to find another room. This demand shocked everyone, pushing Zhang to the edge of his patience. Despite his efforts to accommodate the beggar, Zhang struggled with the audacity of the request. The beggar then criticized Zhang, suggesting he was not worthy of the name Zhang Bai Ren. In a moment of realization, Zhang decided to allow the beggar to sleep in the bridal chamber, discussing it with his family. Despite initial resistance, they agreed, recognizing the importance of fulfilling Zhang's 100th act of patience. The beggar slept peacefully in the bridal chamber, causing no disturbance. In the morning, they found not the beggar, but a shining gold statue in his place, resembling Tai Bai Jin Xing, a revered figure. The statue bore inscriptions praising diligence and harmony through patience. Zhang realized the beggar was Tai Bai Jin Xing testing him. The news spread, elevating Zhang's respect and reminding future generations of the power of patience. Zhang's story illustrates that enduring hardship with patience can indeed bring lifelong happiness. 2. Visionaries possess great character. It's not an issue if your intelligence quotient is low or if your emotional intelligence isn't high. What matters in a person is having a grand character. Simply put, you may not be the smartest or the most sociable, but you must possess a noble spirit. If minor obstacles cause you to retreat, or if petty criticisms overly concern you, if you find yourself harboring resentment or hatred towards others without cause, then your character is too petty. The greater your spirit, the more success you'll achieve. Lam Tak Tu, a notable figure from the Qing dynasty, once wrote, "The sea becomes vast by accommodating thousands of rivers, and a mountain stands tall and unyielding because it harbors no desire." Great character isn't inherent. It is cultivated over time through self-improvement. It's about possessing a strong and vibrant inner force. A person of great character radiates elegance as subtly as the fragrance of orchids, maintains integrity as steadfast as bamboo, and exhibits resilience like plum blossoms blooming in the cold winter. Feng Mong Long, in his work Tang Quang Tri Nong Bo, states, "The ability to be tolerant and forgiving towards lesser men defines a gentleman. Great character provides a person with a calm and stable demeanor and the natural ability to navigate social interactions gracefully." A person of great character isn't without desires or emotions, but sees through life's facade, understands social grace, knows when to advance or retreat, comprehends human nature, and knows how to accumulate good fortune by helping themselves and others. Even in the face of endless sorrow, they can still smile, not letting anything disturb their inner ki or spirit, always maintaining a fresh atmosphere within to nurture and refresh the soul. 3. Humility and harmony, the path to peace and prosperity. Hong Yingming of the Ming Dynasty once said, "One who maintains harmony will naturally be visited by 100 fortunes." Handling affairs harmoniously and maintaining peaceful relations without wasting time on futile arguments or letting anger take over wins the hearts of people and improves relationships. Naturally, everything tends to fall into place, paving the way for success. Mencius remarked, "The favor of the weather is not as beneficial as the lay of the land, and the lay of the land is not as beneficial as harmony among people." Harmony embodies tolerance, a spirit of cooperation, teamwork awareness, and a peaceful atmosphere. Harmony is an external manifestation as well as an internal cultivation. Only those who foster harmony can effectively communicate with others, collaborate successfully, and achieve their career goals. A person of harmony possesses the virtue to uplift everything around them. With good moral conduct, any endeavor can prosper. Harmonious individuals embrace others with a generous heart, share the spotlight, take responsibility for mistakes, and know when to be flexible. Having a heart that forgives the defeated and values the path of the successful ensures a rational and compassionate approach to every task and interaction. People of harmony are enthusiastic yet genuine, loyal but not deceitful. They give generously and sincerely, not for recognition or personal gain, but out of genuine kindness, without flaunting their deeds or exploiting others for fame. They believe in the principle that a noble person remains calm and steady, while the petty are forever troubled, acting with integrity and simplicity. 4. Embracing hardships and humiliation to foster resolve. Success eludes those without a clear direction. With determination, everything is achievable. Confucius once said, "An army can survive without its general, but a man cannot live without a sense of purpose." Having a definitive goal and the pursuit of that goal constitutes resolve. A spirited call to action that never wanes is spirit. Together, these form one's fighting spirit. A person with a strong fighting spirit may not yet have reached the pinnacle of wisdom, but every career success hinges on this principle. When someone faces adversity or humiliation yet remains steadfast in their purpose, persisting unwaveringly, their true fighting spirit is evident. Those willing to endure hardships to fulfill their duties ultimately achieve great accomplishments. Historian Sima Qian endured extreme hardships and humiliations to build his legacy, leaving behind the renowned Records of the Grand Historian for posterity. His embodiment of patience set a pinnacle for endurance. The agony and disgrace he withstood and the resilience required to endure such humiliation laid the foundation for the creation of this monumental work. 5. Embracing a scholarly aura through reading. The so-called scholarly aura is a type of elegance and poise, an outward manifestation of good inner qualities. This scholarly demeanor is the refreshing air emitted from the fragrance of books, capable of refining thoughts and, subsequently, actions. A person with a scholarly aura illuminated by the knowledge within books shines brightly, and the reading room becomes a crucial place for cultivating this aura. In a reading room, books are companions and friends. Immersing oneself in a sea of books, engaging in discourse with the learned, and absorbing a wealth of knowledge is essential for nurturing a scholarly demeanor. Ancients said, "Practice is not confined indoors," suggesting that cultivating a scholarly aura should not be limited to the reading room but should extend outdoors. Engaging with wise individuals and merging with nature enriches one's experience. The vastness of social life is like a great book, urging those seeking to develop a scholarly demeanor to step outside, embrace the world's essence, and fill their scholarly aura with the pure breath of nature. Tong Quoc Phien commented, "A person's demeanor is innate and challenging to change. Only through reading can it be transformed." To maintain and cultivate one's fine qualities consistently, fostering a scholarly aura is vital, allowing it to perpetually fill the heart and resonate throughout, provoking endless contemplation. A scholarly aura is also characterized by deep accumulation before gradually manifesting, achievable only through consistent cultivation. Nurturing a scholarly disposition is not a task for just a day or two, but a lifelong endeavor. 6. Don't sacrifice integrity for minor gains. Living life, one should never forfeit their integrity, even if it means losing everything else. The following story is a profound lesson for those contemplating trading their essence for temporary benefits. In a southern town, there existed a fish stall in the market where buyers often queued up, thanks to its reputation for freshness and plans for expansion by its owner, a man in his 50s. In a casual conversation, the stall owner shared how a special customer had catalyzed his business's growth. After lighting a cigarette, he recounted a story from about 5 years prior, when a young boy of 7 or 8 came to buy vegetables and stopped at his stall, requesting 2 pomfrets. After choosing the fish, the boy rummaged through his pocket, eventually pulling out a $100 bill. "Is this a New Year's gift you're reluctant to spend?" the owner joked, noticing the boy's flushed cheeks. $36, the owner said, accepting the money and returning $64 in change. The boy hastily grabbed the fish and change and left. The next day, the boy returned, sharing, "My mother was admitted to the hospital." The stall owner was taken aback. "My mom is sick and had surgery today. I bought her favorite pomfrets yesterday, fearing she might never have the chance to enjoy them again. After eating, she told me, it's truly unworthy to lose one's integrity over a slight gain." Ashamed, the boy produced a crisp $100 bill from his pocket and respectfully handed it over, apologizing, "The money I used yesterday was counterfeit. This one is real." The owner was stunned, having not suspected the sincere-looking boy of using fake money. The boy, embarrassed, explained, "This fake bill was something my mom received long ago and kept in a drawer. With her illness consuming our savings, I wanted to save $100 by using the fake bill without her knowing. Thank you for not scolding me." The owner, feeling as if something broke inside him, retrieved the counterfeit bill from the drawer and returned it to the boy, who then respectfully left. Watching the boy's figure disappear, the owner remained shaken for a long time. Later, when cleaning up, he discreetly discarded over a dozen seafood items preserved with formaldehyde he had stored beneath the stall for over a week. Eventually, the boy's mother passed away due to her illness, and the boy returned to his hometown to continue his studies. The fish stall owner never saw the boy again, but the memories of the boy and his unseen mother always warmed his heart. The wisdom of the mother not only guided her son back to moral righteousness, teaching him to be a good person, but also influenced others around him. She truly was a remarkable mother. 7. The Stolen Penny. There's a story about a woman with the last name Thee, who 40 years ago in elementary school stole a penny from a friend to buy a cake because she was so hungry. The friend discovered the money was missing, cried, and searched for it. This incident deeply embedded itself in her mind, impossible to forget. 4 decades later, after much effort, Mrs. Thee finally located this friend. She approached her with $10,000, insisting, "You must take this. I've been tormented by guilt for what I did all those years ago." The friend had long forgotten about the lost penny and wouldn't have remembered if Mrs. Thie hadn't brought it up. Indeed, no one else knew that she had been the one to take that penny. However, Mrs. Thie couldn't forget. She was always troubled by her conscience, feeling as if she were being tortured. Thus, she was determined to find her friend, repay the money 10,000-fold, and ask for forgiveness, seeking relief and peace of mind. Many people likely have had similar experiences, owing something to someone for various reasons. Perhaps the other party is unaware, and no one else could possibly know. No one may blame you, but you cannot forget or forgive yourself. It's often said that one cannot act against their conscience for this very reason. The torment of a guilty conscience can lead you to self-punish over feeling in the wrong. The taste of such a sensation is no less painful than being reproached by others. Therefore, Mrs. T was willing to spend $10,000 to make amends for that one penny she owed, illustrating the profound impact of conscience and the lengths one might go to find resolution. 8. Contentment brings happiness. In the discussion of ultimate roots, it is said, "The greedy grieve for gold but not obtaining jade, and those craving honor lament not becoming marquises." This means that human desires are endless, despite our finite nature. People who have gold still yearn for jade. Those with titles still dream of higher ranks. Sooner or later, those who chase beyond their means and fortune inevitably invite disaster. During the Ming Dynasty, Prince Ning of Jiangxi, Zhu Chenhao, descended from royalty, led a life of luxury. However, not content with being a prince, he aspired to become the emperor himself. Unfortunately, his rebellion lasted merely 43 days before being quelled by the Nanjing governor Wang Yangming, along with the supreme commander Kai An and General Wu Wenqing. Prince Ning was captured and sentenced to death. Nian Gengyao, 1480 to 1567, listed among the 6 major traders of the Ming Dynasty, alongside his son Nian Gengyao, wielded power to the dismay of many for 20 years. Nian Genyao's son, Nian the Fien, epitomized arrogance. Boasting of his family's wealth, he once declared, "No one in the court is as rich as I am." Emperor Zhengde had long disapproved of Nian Genyao and his family. Eventually, he found a reason to dismiss Nian Genyao from his post, and his family and associates were exiled to the border. On his way to exile, Nian the Fien attempted to flee back home but became a bandit and was executed by the court. With their property confiscated, Nian Genya was left homeless, living amidst scorn from everyone. 2 years later, he died from illness. At his death, Nian Genya was buried without a coffin, and no one was there to mourn him. It's said, "A 1,000-room mansion can't extend the space where one sleeps beyond 2 meters, and owning thousands of acres can't increase the number of meals one eats beyond 3 a day. So why can't people be content instead of tirelessly chasing after more? After all, no matter how much wealth or how high a position one may hold, at life's end, none of it holds any significance." 9. The challenge of being foolishly content. The difficulty of achieving foolishness is a famous saying by Qing Dynasty scholar and artist Trin Ban Qiu. He commented on this phrase saying, "Being smart is hard, being foolish is hard, transforming from smart to foolish is even harder. Let go, take a step back, and your heart will find peace without expecting any rewards in return." Some say, in life there are 2 states, being awake to work and being foolish to live. Foolishness is a mindset as well as a cultivation. In Confucius's eyes, foolishness was moderation. To the elderly, it was effortlessness, and to Zhuangzi, it was carefree wandering. Many things are better left unknown without the need to be sharp or overly understanding. In reality, life is inherently foolish, with joy and happiness hidden within this foolishness. Once awakened, all joy and happiness can dissipate like smoke. Living in this world, sometimes we just need to be a bit foolish, looking at life with half-closed eyes, thus forgiving ourselves and others. Those who are always calculating often lead lives devoid of joy. Being foolish with friends makes for lasting relationships. Being foolish with your loved one gives both freedom. Being foolish with wealth and gains brings no pain or anger. Being foolish with human relationships eases the conscience. Being foolish with baseless rumors spares you tiredness. Life's journey should be traversed foolishly and lived joyfully, knowing contentment brings happiness. 10. Enlightened perspective on life. Life, for us, is a journey. We cried when we came into this world, our tears announcing our arrival, yet those around us laughed, their laughter a joyous celebration, a warm welcome. As we grow, we find laughter in tears and tears in laughter. Some laugh more than they cry in their lifetime, filling their existence with light. Others cry more than they laugh, inevitably encountering darkness. Everyone has a life, but not everyone grasps its meaning. The key is how you choose to illustrate it with the pen of your life. Be thankful to the heavens for what you have and equally grateful for what you lack. Living another day is a blessing in itself. Sometimes we cry over not having shoes to wear, only to realize there are many who do not have feet to wear shoes. Approach every moment with a heart full of gratitude, and you will find life becoming richer and more beautiful. Buddha said, "Arrival is by chance, departure a certainty. Be unchanging amidst changes, and adaptable amidst the unchangeable." Cherish life, treat it well, and illustrate it beautifully. Only then, as you leave this world, can you do so with a smile, knowing you've used your efforts to interpret and enrich life. So, even as those around you cry, isn't their sorrow also a passionate tribute to your life? Shai. 11. Insights on life. There's a profound saying, the truth of life is hidden in the simplicity of everyday things. People go through life often feeling weary, inevitably facing ups and downs and suffering. Because we are merely human, we experience the bitterness, spiciness, sourness, and sweetness of life, along with its inevitable anxieties and sorrows. Whether bitter or sweet, things in life don't always go as we wish. Who can insist on changing that? Learning to view problems from a different perspective, adjusting our mindset, giving a little more, expecting a little less, and being a bit more composed could make life somewhat more comfortable. Buddha said, "If a person does not experience suffering, he will not easily empathize with others. To learn to alleviate suffering and disaster, one must first endure suffering and hardship." Life is essentially a challenging journey, a form of spiritual training. Only by bravely confronting reality can we overcome it, rise from our falls, smile through tears, find happiness in suffering, joy in misfortune, learn to accept things calmly and reflect humbly. Your life may then reveal its greater virtues. 12. Enlightened views on love. Life is a journey of seeking love, where each of us hopes to find four special people. Firstly, oneself. Secondly, the one you love the most. Thirdly, the one who loves you the most. And finally, the one you spend your entire life with. Loving and being loved is a feeling that, along the path of life, is shaped by fate and debt, unclear to all. Some have the fate but not the debt, others the debt but no fate. No one escapes the mortal coil, hence the world is filled with unrequited love and resentments, brimming with joys and sorrows of meetings and partings. When fate arrives, one must learn to cherish it. When it departs, to let go. Only then can we grant others a chance for change, and ourselves more opportunities to choose. Do not let tears obscure your vision nor hatred consume your heart. At least once in life, forget yourself for someone else without seeking any results, companionship, possession, or even their love in return. Only wish that, at the most beautiful moment of their life, they meet you. Whether in a past life or this one, having loved and not regretted enables us to one day, upon meeting again, gently say, "Ah, you are here too." 13. The Lost Horse, a blessing in disguise. Near the frontier there lived an old man who raised horses. One day, his prized horse ran away to the north and did not return. The neighbors came to express their condolences, but the old man remained calm and unruffled, saying, "Who knows? Losing the horse might actually be a blessing." A few days later, the horse unexpectedly returned, bringing several fine horses back with it. Everyone was astonished and visited the old man to congratulate him on his good fortune, saying, "It's a blessing in disguise. Not only did you not lose your horse, but you also gained more." Everyone expected the old man to be overjoyed, but he simply responded, "Gaining more horses might bring misfortune." The neighbors were genuinely puzzled but did not inquire further and went back home. The old man's son, attracted by the beauty of the new horses, decided to try riding one, but ended up falling and breaking his leg. People hurried to visit and offer their sympathies. As before, the old man appeared indifferent and remarked, "Who knows? This might actually be a blessing." Later on, the government issued a draft calling for all able-bodied young men in the village to join the army. Those who resisted would face severe punishment. Since the old man's son had a broken leg, he was exempted from military service. It was then that those who had sons drafted into the army realized how fortunate the old man's family was. In conclusion, every event in life intertwines fortune and misfortune. Therefore, it's best to live in harmony with nature without being fixated on gains or losses. When planning, go with the flow of cause and effect. Give your best effort without obsessing over the outcome. Success or failure is a matter of fate, and sometimes happiness comes from the journey, not the destination. Do not let success or failure affect your peace of mind too much. 14. Aspiration and tranquility. The ancients said, "Life and death are predestined. Wealth and honor are in heaven's hands." Everything in this life is already arranged. All things follow their natural course. Despite our desires, there's little we can change. The more we strive against fate, the less happy we become. Only by accepting our destiny can we find peace of mind. An employee once asked his colleague, "You don't have more money than me, yet you and your friends seem so content. Everyone is relaxed and free from mental stress. Do you have some secret?" Moved by his honesty, I smiled leisurely and replied, "I harbor no desires in my heart. Can you do the same?" He immediately looked uncomfortable and said, "How is that possible? These days I'm exhausted. My son failed his math exam and I don't know how to fix it. I've also accumulated too much credit card debt and can't afford to pay it off. There's just too much to worry about and it only leads to more problems." I calmly told him, "Only when you cease to yearn for anything will you truly find peace." I shared a story with him about a wealthy merchant who encountered a beggar, an old friend. The beggar asked for money, saying, "You and I are old friends. Can you spare some change?" The merchant looked closely at the beggar and recognized him, saying, "I remember you. You used to be wealthy. What happened?" The beggar replied, "My house burned down last year and I lost everything." "Why did you become a beggar?" asked the merchant. "I needed money for alcohol," the beggar confessed. "Why did you need alcohol?" "Only with alcohol could I muster the courage to beg." Realizing this, the merchant saw the truth about those blinded by worldly desires. He sighed. Everyone in this world is addicted to alcohol, women, and money. Hence, they waste their lives. In the end, we all end up 6 feet under. But why live like this? He told the beggar, "When you decide you no longer need alcohol, come see me." And then he walked away. The beggar was disappointed at not getting money from his old friend. Just then, a Taoist priest approached, and the beggar asked, "Can you tell me what tomorrow holds?" The priest laughed. "You own nothing, yet worry about tomorrow. Why fret over trivial matters? We, the Taoist priests, aim to be good, compassionate, patient, and free from anger or desire. We don't have much for daily sustenance. Even without food, we don't feel hungry. Why can we remain so serene?" After finishing the story, my colleague seemed to understand somewhat and said, "I won't worry about this issue anymore." I knew he had temporarily found stability and added, "Try this. Just have truthfulness, compassion, forbearance without anger, complaints, or hatred, and you'll gradually learn to let go of desires. I hope you can find tranquility too." Reflecting on this, I realized that only those who are compassionate, honest, and patient can achieve tranquility. Without desires, one can see the truth of life and live peacefully. In this world, money and status are deemed essential, but upon death, they can't be taken with us. We tirelessly chase after them, competing and fighting, but in the end, it amounts to nothing. Moreover, according to the law of karma, one's status and fortune are accumulated virtues from past lives. Why do some have smooth lives while others face hardships? It's because each person's destiny differs. People work hard all their lives, hoping for leisure and enjoyment in their later years. We seek tranquility externally, forgetting it's something we can achieve by letting go of our desires, accepting fate, and thus holding happiness in our own hands. 15. Happiness, closer than it appears. The most precious form of happiness is often what we overlook the most, having a home to return to, someone waiting for us, 3 meals a day. A writer once said, "What is happiness? Happiness is everything continuing as normal." Truly, the simplest form of happiness might just be someone waving goodbye in the morning and waiting to welcome us back at night. Sharing life's little moments, like stashing away backpacks in a corner or hiding smelly soccer shoes under the table, are often overlooked. Yet, reflecting on such a peaceful, ordinary life, if not cherished, will eventually lead to regret. Consider this humble story. A young pup asked its mother, "Mom, where is happiness found?" The mother dog replied, "Happiness lies right on your tail." So the puppy turned around, trying to catch its tail to see what happiness really looks like. But no matter how hard it tried, it couldn't catch happiness on its tail, ending up dizzy from going in circles. Sharing its concerns with its mother, the mother dog smiled and said, "Don't try to catch your tail. Just keep moving forward, and happiness will always follow you." This story enlightens us that we are all amidst happiness without even realizing it. Happiness can be as simple as knowing where to go after work, having a light waiting for you at home at night, or knowing a hearty meal awaits when hunger strikes. In essence, the most valuable yet easily overlooked happiness is having a home to return to, someone waiting, and meals to eat. As someone once said, missing a bus means catching the next one, spending all your money means you can earn it back, and losing a job means finding a new one. But home and family are irreplaceable and unique. Happiness is what we search for throughout our lives, yet it's incredibly simple. It's in the daily, familiar, and ordinary moments, laughing and talking joyfully with family. Home is where life begins and ends, a haven for both body and soul. When someone has experienced all that life has to offer and returns to a simple existence, they realize happiness is just that simple. It's about having a warm home with loved ones, sharing meals, going through the seasons and embracing the mundane without change. Life is fleeting, and through this short story, may you appreciate the happiness you have, and for those who have yet to cherish it, may you recognize and seize the happiness that time may soon take away. 16. The heavens favor the virtuous. The Tao Te Ching contains the saying, "Heaven's way is impartial, always with the virtuous," meaning that the way of heaven favors no one in particular, but bestows grace upon those with virtue. Heaven's way is impartial because the way of heaven is omnipresent, encompassing everything without exclusion, treating all beings of the world equally. Always with the virtuous signifies that virtuous people bring blessings to others and grace upon themselves, naturally earning heaven's favor. The way of heaven treats us all equally and fairly. Thus, whether one can be virtuous largely depends on oneself. Your actions will determine your fate. The quality of your inner self will define the breadth of your perspective. 17. The virtuous will find peace, though blessings may delay. Zhuangzi once stated, "As long as one harbors good intentions in their heart, even if blessings have not yet arrived, misfortunes will have already departed." Throughout our lives, many seek good fortune through prayers or rituals, hoping for divine assistance. However, true blessings don't come from others or a specific place, but from one's own righteous actions. A story in the Scenes from the World recounts the ancient tale of the Lun Gok couple from the east of Vodich City who had a son named Hin He. At 3 or 4 years old, Hin He was kidnapped by human traffickers during a lantern festival. After an exhaustive search within the city proved fruitless, the couple borrowed money from a wealthy family to search outside the city. Facing high mountains, deep waters, and limited funds, Lun Gok resorted to trading along the road to earn travel money, enduring great hardships. One day, he found a bag containing 200 silver coins. Despite his poverty, knowing the silver was not rightfully his, Lun Gok waited for the owner, who eventually claimed it back. The grateful owner, impressed by Lun Gok's honesty, invited him home for a feast and offered a monetary reward as thanks, which Lun Gok declined. Learning of Lun Gok's lost son, the owner proposed a marriage between his daughter and Lun Gok's son, should he be found. Moved, Lun Gok shared the story of his missing son, which touched the owner, who then offered to give a servant boy to Lu Ngok as an adopted son to support in his later years. Miraculously, the servant boy turned out to be He Ni. The story ends happily, with Hai Ni and the owner's daughter marrying and their offspring achieving success. This tale illustrates how a good heart and deeds not only bring blessings to oneself, but also prosperity to the family and even fortune to future generations. This is the essence of good people receive blessings, and sincerity brings luck. Holding good intentions in your heart invites divine protection, and sincere goodwill naturally attracts fortune. 18. Your appearance reflects your personality. In life, there's a common experience: meeting someone whose features initially seem delicate and refined but over time appear more ordinary. Conversely, someone may look quite average at first but become more appealing and interesting the more you see them. This phenomenon is largely because a person's face can reveal their temperament, with their disposition influencing their appearance. A person's character is fully displayed in their facial expressions. As seen in Dream of the Red Chamber, Lin Dayu is described as having eyebrows lightly colored like smoke, seemingly frowning yet not. She embodies goodness and fragility like a spring flower, with a smart and nimble springtime air, graceful and ethereal in demeanor. Over time, personality can indeed alter one's looks. The ancients believed in the saying, "Appearance follows the heart," meaning a person's facial features change according to their thoughts and feelings. If you're generous, your face naturally appears calm. If you're friendly, your smile comes easily. Simplicity shows a childlike joy. Deceit brings a restless gaze. Boldness often leads to furrowed brows. A person's mental state, if positively transformed, energizes the body, making it robust and confident, not only transforming the appearance but also enhancing one's aura. If you desire to be physically attractive, your soul must also be radiant. Only inner beauty can sustain lasting outer elegance. 19. Your appearance reflects your life. It's often said that judging someone based solely on their appearance is superficial. However, sometimes appearances can indeed offer accurate insights. This appearance isn't just about the external looks, but also encompasses facial expressions, eye contact, speech, gestures, and overall demeanor. The quality of a person's life, whether it's good or not, can often be discerned through their appearance. There has been research on the correlation between salary levels and attractiveness, revealing that people who are deemed more attractive tend to earn up to 15% more than their average-looking counterparts. This doesn't imply that merely being physically appealing will earn someone's favor. Most often, those who are considered attractive also possess numerous other merits. Behind every attractive person, there's likely a life of refinement. They choose their meals carefully, rest appropriately, read diligently, and maintain a regular exercise routine. Your appearance is indeed a representation of your lifestyle. While natural beauty may require genetic luck, an appearance that makes others feel at ease and comfortable around you demands self-discipline and maintenance. Each of us has a responsibility to take care of our own appearance. 20. Your appearance reflects your experiences. Some say, if God grants you a beautiful face, be careful, for it is a test of your character. If your character is mediocre, it will reflect on your face, turning beauty into vulgarity. The story of Miss Kwak Uyen Don, born into a prestigious family yet experiencing unsettling times, including laboring in the fields during her youth, illustrates this well. Despite hardships, she meticulously maintained her composure and elegance. In her old age, Kwak Uyen Don remained a refined lady. Author Tran Dan Yun recalls a meeting with her. Her hair was like snow, wearing a sky blue fur coat, still very beautiful. At 86, dining out with 3 younger women, it seemed more like 3 men accompanying a beauty to a restaurant rather than 3 women with an elderly lady. This demeanor is cultivated through adversity, tolerance, and the passage of time, shaping a calm and graceful character visible in one's appearance. True beauty is not merely superficial. It is a daily discipline that stands out in a crowd, reflecting the soul's form. British philosopher Bertrand Russell said, "A person's face is the exterior value of that individual. It not only conceals their life but also the life they aspire to." A person's appearance relates not only to their present but also determines their future. However, believe that it can be transformed. Therefore, being genuinely kind, optimistic, filled with love and gratitude, and enriching one's soul and attitude towards life, one will inevitably become more beautiful. 21. What it means to mature. What does it mean to mature? Is it graying hair or wrinkles at the corners of your eyes? No, none of these. Physical changes are merely signs of passing time. True maturity is never visible to the naked eye. Perhaps maturity is like a ripe peach, soft and sweet. We often assume that as we age, our souls naturally mature. Yet maturity isn't that straightforward. It's like a process that repeats over the years, embodying calm after unfulfilled desires, smiling through pain and tears, and an inner longing to rise above failures. True maturity has never been about age or time. It's about finding inner peace and balance. It's like the moon shining through clouds, a dragon soaring through storms, akin to befriending the soil and mud, or a fish that swims upstream against the wind to reach greater heights. In the Northern Song dynasty, there lived an exceptional poet named Su Shi, who maintained his composure through life's tumultuous waves, finding joy in adversity. Su Shi, known for his integrity and candidness, faced demotion for critiquing the salt tax policy of Wang Anshi, leading him to relocate to Huangzhou. There, in a modest riverside room without money or food, Su Shi had to farm the land himself. Yet, facing life's hardships, Su Shi never lost his dignity. He didn't let financial struggles distress him. He lived happily in his small riverside home. In Huangzhou, Su Shi led a simple life, reading, writing poetry, painting, practicing calligraphy. He built a house, grew vegetables, dug wells, and farmed, enjoying the countryside. Despite growing disillusioned with his long exile, he fell in love with this remote land, dedicating his time to poetry and painting. His character has since inspired countless admirers. 22. Maturity as a state of being. If the process of growing up is akin to a plant blooming, then maturity is comparable to the fruition process. From the initial sprouts to the moment a flower bud opens, each plant undergoes growth and development. However, not every bloom leads to fruit, just as not all growth results in maturity and wisdom. Maturity is a state of being, akin to finding oneself as a source of light in the darkest night, guiding one's own way. When enveloped in fog and the path is unclear, a mature individual understands the need to slow down, calm the mind, and refine oneself amidst turmoil, remaining tranquil in the raging sea while awaiting the opportune moment. Mature individuals recognize that everyone has a purpose in life as ordained by the universe. They comprehend that each person is complex beyond surface appearances, possessing unique strengths and weaknesses. With maturity comes the realization that living requires granting forgiveness to oneself, others, and even one's adversaries. The sea becomes vast by accepting hundreds of rivers. It's by accommodating that it achieves greatness. Forgiving others' mistakes is ultimately a form of self-liberation. Life is fleeting, with youth quickly giving way to age. A mature heart does not dwell on temporary gains or losses. The stronger the wind, the more serene the mind. The heavier the rain, the more steadfast the will. 23. Maturity isn't about age. It's about inner peace. Age is measured by time, but maturity is defined by the state of the mind. Mature individuals possess a soul of utmost serenity. Maturity is like a river swelling quietly at night, its surface calm yet harboring a powerful force within, capable of cleansing everything in its path. If each person has an aura, then the mature aura is surely white, bright but not blinding, magnificent without ostentation, and impactful without causing turmoil. A mature heart is like water, gentle yet firm, allowing all joys and sorrows to pass without leaving a mark. Maturity isn't about the number of years lived, but about attaining inner peace and tranquility, regardless of the world's turmoil, indifferent to the storm and stress, remaining steadfast as a mountain. Maturity and ripeness are demands and achievements for oneself. It's a process of experimentation and reflection. Moreover, it's a state of being alive. On the journey to maturity, everyone will encounter numerous challenges, but learning from each step forward is a success in itself. No matter how long or rough the road may be, growing with each step is the true measure of progress. 24. Forgetting the kindness you've given to others. There's an old saying that goes, if you extend kindness, don't expect repayment. If you expect repayment, don't extend kindness. However, in life, some people, after offering a helping hand, tend to hold a sense of entitlement over the recipient, constantly feeling that the other person owes them gratitude and should repay the favor. They may even adopt a condescending attitude or show a lack of respect when in the presence of the beneficiary. Occasionally, this might be overlooked, but repeatedly behaving this way can make those who have received significant help very uncomfortable. Consequently, the helper might feel even more dissatisfied, deeming the other person ungrateful. They might see their generosity as wasted, leading to disappointment, frustration, and even resentment, which brings them distress and misery. Helping others should inherently be a positive action. Yet, by constantly keeping tally and remembering one's own acts of kindness, it turns into a burden, making it difficult for oneself to live happily and at ease. Eventually, everyone will find themselves in need of assistance, so it's beneficial to remember the help you've received a bit more and forget the help you've given to others. By doing so, your life becomes much lighter and more enjoyable. 25. Letting everything flow smoothly. Water is a substance without a fixed shape. It flows, adapting to its surroundings. Yet, as the ancients said, even mountains cannot stop the water. It flows around them, and water wears down stone. Thus, our ancestors believed that behaving gently and going with the flow, like water, ensures that all endeavors will proceed smoothly, achieving desired outcomes. This belief encapsulates the principle of not competing. Not competing is different from not seeking advancement. It reflects a respect for natural laws, maintaining the balance of all things, not losing the greater for the sake of the lesser, and not losing oneself amidst the myriad changes of life. Action should not be rushed, as haste does not bring success. Before undertaking any task, consider it carefully, then plan and proceed cautiously, step by step. This approach, like a gently flowing stream, does not prioritize speed. Furthermore, a small stream flows long distances and will eventually join a larger body of water. Therefore, those who aspire to greatness must learn humility and cultivate an attitude of not competing to truly rise above. 26. The mind shapes reality. Happiness or sorrow is your own choice. Life belongs to you, and ultimately, how you live it is your own decision. No one can hinder your freedom, nor can anyone limit your happiness. Buddhism shares a profound saying, "Do not seek externally," or "outside the mind there are no dharmas." Thus, joy resides in the mind, as do freedom, independence, and happiness. In life, we sometimes find ourselves in situations where we must do things against our will. But who can limit your inner self? Your internal state is solely determined by you. Some people can live happily in certain circumstances while others cannot. This shows that if the mind is at peace, everything else will be too. Even in unfavorable situations, one can remain cheerful and relaxed without striving for an alternative path. Some people never learn to be content, always chasing after desires and struggling in vain only to find their goals growing more distant. Such individuals may achieve great success, but their happiness is minimal. All feelings of joy and sorrow are decided by oneself, not by objective circumstances. For instance, a woman indifferent to jewels and treasures would remain unmoved even if wealth were piled high before her. A poor scholar would prefer to embrace thousands of books rather than exchange them for millions of diamonds. Those content with a simple life in the countryside will not envy the scholar's recognition, high-ranking positions, or wealth. A calm life leads to a luminous inner self. True peace comes from within, not from ostentation. Happiness is the peace of body and the tranquility of the soul. Physical health and well-being are worldly joys, while a serene and harmonious mind is akin to reaching nirvana. 27. Treat others as you would want to be treated. In the Analects, Wailing Gong, there is a story where Tzu Kung asks, "Is there one word that can guide a person throughout life?" Confucius responds, "Perhaps it is reciprocity. What you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others." To become a kind person, you only need to practice two things. First is to forgive and remain calm. Facing others' mistakes and shortcomings, we must maintain tolerance and calmness. Be strict with yourself and patient with others, avoiding unreasonable demands and acting cautiously. Forgiving others is also forgiving yourself. Second is empathetic consideration. Do not do to others what you wouldn't want done to yourself. Before acting, consider the other person's perspective, seek a balance of interests, and employ the most appropriate method for mutual benefit, ensuring comfort for all involved. By following this approach, you can avoid uncomfortable situations, smooth out most relationships, and remain fearless in any circumstance, always projecting a warm and refined image. Such individuals often receive promotions and salary increases more rapidly and steadily. Beyond the workplace, in family and daily life, they skillfully resolve conflicts, always making others feel like they're experiencing a refreshing spring breeze. 28. A heart wide open paves the way for a broad path. There's a saying, "A heart wide open paves the way for a broad path." If you're forgiving, capable of pardoning what seems unpardonable, you spare yourself much grief. A truly cultivated person can use compassion and tolerance to uplift others, thereby uplifting themselves. Life isn't always smooth sailing, so when we can't change our circumstances, we should strive to adjust our mindset. If we constantly keep score, our world fills with resentment. But if we let go, peace follows us like eternal spring. When you simplify your heart, the world struggles to complicate your life. If you radiate sunshine, it becomes hard for others to be harmed. 29. Does spiritual cultivation require seclusion in the mountains? Kazuo Inamori, one of Japan's 4 most famous businessmen, once stated, "Work itself is a form of spiritual practice, and the workplace is the field of cultivation. Every task is an opportunity for spiritual growth. Cultivating oneself through work does not mean sitting in strict meditation or pretending to be profound. It is an action that arises from inner strength. Work holds deep and noble significance for everyone. Labor can help us overcome desires, refine our temperament, and cultivate our character. Its purpose is not merely for the exchange of life's necessities, as this is but a secondary benefit of labor. Therefore, pouring your whole spirit into daily tasks is crucial, as this is the way to achieve the highest level of spiritual cultivation in refining the soul and elevating the spirit. Buddha Shakyamuni emphasized that diligence is crucial, one of the methods to reach enlightenment in cultivation. Diligence refers to the effort in work, focusing one's mind on the task at hand. Through work, one should actively explore their potential, enhance character development, refine temperament, and improve skills. Thus, focusing your spirit on one thing, being diligent and not complacent in your work, the process of striving day by day will refine your soul and cultivate a deep character. An old proverb says, "Success in work is not as important as being a person who knows how to work." Labor is to be revered. This is the essence of the philosophy. To refine one's temperament, a phrase that might make people think of religious cultivation. In reality, loving a job wholeheartedly requires full dedication. Character must be cultivated through work, meaning philosophy is born from sweat and tears, and temperament is refined through daily labor. Dedicating oneself to their work, continuously brainstorming and striving, appreciates every moment in life. Life happens only once, and each day must be lived extremely seriously, without a trace of waste, living sincerely to the utmost degree. This seemingly foolish attitude towards life, if persisted in over a long time, allows even the most ordinary person to become extraordinary. Those who have achieved fame as celebrities in the world, leaders in their fields, likely followed this path. Labor not only generates economic value, but also creates value for humanity. So, why should one retreat from the world? The workplace is the best environment for spiritual cultivation, and working is a form of cultivation itself. By genuinely striving in work daily and cultivating a noble character, a beautiful life is easily attainable. In this world, there are no tasks without potential, only people without ambition. A story tells of an elderly carpenter who, wishing to retire and enjoy his remaining years with his family, was reluctantly allowed to leave by his employer after building one last house. However, his lack of dedication resulted in substandard work. Upon completion, the employer handed him the keys, saying, "This is your house, my gift to you." The carpenter realized his mistake too late. Consistently maintaining professional dedication is rare. Professional spirit demands complete engagement from start to finish in any task. Ultimately, what one becomes is not dictated by the hand dealt by fate, but by how one plays those cards. The key to playing life's hand well lies in enhancing professional spirit and joy in one's work, especially in today's competitive era, demanding even greater inner strength and energy. Life is not about leisure, but about engaging in serious work. We all hope to be ambitious, but faced with challenges, it's crucial to revisit and nourish our life philosophies, the nutrients needed for a healthy mindset. People must stay awake forever. Some live for work, others for dreams, and some continue living to discover what they truly live for. Being born is a gift from the divine, but living is based on one's wisdom and courage. Only by setting forth can ideals and goals be achieved. Only through effort can brilliant success be attained. Only by sowing can one reap, and only through pursuit can the dignity of being truly upright be experienced. Focusing on education, concentrating on work, cultivating oneself through professional endeavors, and actively changing attitudes to unleash a stronger life force can lead to a calm and healthy life. 30. The kind-hearted teacher. There was once a student from a very poor family, so poor that they didn't even have a place to bathe. Therefore, in the summer, he would often go to the river to bathe, especially during the winter when the river water was very cold, making his bathing times quite lengthy. One day, a new homeroom teacher was assigned to his class. Due to the teacher's busy schedule, he often asked this student and another to come to his house to help make charcoal. After finishing, the teacher would let them bathe in warm water as a thank you before they went home. Each time the student went to help at the teacher's house, he felt very happy, and naturally, the teacher frequently asked for his help. Years later, at a gathering, the once impoverished student, now having achieved some success in his career, proudly shared his past experiences with everyone, basking in their admiration. At the end of the event, the daughter of his former homeroom teacher, who was also present, sent him a message saying, "Actually, my father's purpose wasn't for you to do those tasks, but rather he wanted you to have a place to bathe." Reading the message on his phone, he was moved to tears. He then realized that the teacher had treated him so kindly for many years without his knowledge. This teacher not only helped the student overcome life's difficulties, but also carefully safeguarded his dignity, providing support in every way possible. 31. The compassionate talent show judge. In a singing competition, a contestant introduced himself as an event singer, seeming quite nervous and embarrassed. One judge, puzzled by the term event singer, inquired for clarification. Another judge smoothly explained, "It's when a large building hosts an event and they have an opening ceremony with ribbon cutting. The singer performs right then." The first judge quickly responded, "Oh, so it's not much different from us then." This clever remark by the judge not only alleviated the contestants' self-consciousness and shame, but also subtly protected their dignity, warming the atmosphere of the competition. This act demonstrates how genuine kindness can make everyone around feel that simplicity is filled with humanity. As the saying goes, evil feared to be known becomes greater. Good deeds sought to be known are not truly good. Kindness isn't just about having a compassionate heart, but also about empathy. For instance, consider the case where businessmen sponsor poor mountain children. A donation ceremony is organized at the school's sports field, attended by all teachers and students. These businessmen often display a pile of cash they are donating as a small mountain, then invite media and reporters to photograph the children with the money. Such public welfare activities continue annually. At these events, businessmen dress sharply, smile for the cameras, while the children, unfamiliar with such large events, can only bow their heads, clutch their clothes nervously, and appear anxious. Moreover, after the photos, the children are asked to look into the camera and describe their family's dire situations. This practice has caused many children to lose optimism and confidence. Despite receiving financial aid, it comes at the cost of their self-esteem and dignity. What these businessmen do isn't genuine kindness but ambition under the guise of charity. It's not true benevolence but rather malicious intent cloaked in a veneer of goodness. 32. The eagle that plucked its own feathers. There were two eagles, one flew swiftly and the other lagged behind. The slower eagle, filled with envy, sought to harm its rival. Ironically, its schemes never affected the swift eagle, but led to its own downfall. The jealous eagle, desiring to impair the swift one, proposed to a hunter, "Ahead lies a swift eagle. Use your arrow to shoot it down." The hunter replied, "I could, but my arrow lacks a feather. Could you provide one from your own?" "Certainly. If it means you can shoot it, one feather is trivial. the eagle agreed, plucking a feather to give to the hunter. The hunter aimed at the swift eagle but missed as it had soared too high. Turning to the envious eagle, the hunter suggested, "Another feather, what do you say?" "All right," the eagle complied, plucking another feather. Yet the hunter missed again. This pattern continued until the eagle had plucked all its feathers and was no longer able to fly. The hunter then remarked, "Here lies an eagle that cannot fly. Why exert effort shooting the one in the sky?" and captured the plucked eagle instead. The moral of the story is twofold. Those who seek to harm others ultimately harm themselves. Someone digging a pit for others might end up falling into it themselves, as encapsulated in the verse, "One dug a hole, deep and wide, only to fall in themselves inside." What drove the eagle to pluck its own feathers? It was jealousy that couldn't bear seeing another eagle flying higher and faster. Envy leads to one's own destruction. Who would be upset or displeased to see their siblings excel? Such resentment surely stems from a malevolent heart. When we are angered, we act in ways that fulfill malicious desires. The higher one flies, the safer they are. Why wasn't the targeted eagle shot down? Because it flew high. Those who soar higher are beyond reach, free from harm and safe from adversity. Thus, to overcome obstacles and prevent others from attacking, strive to reach higher grounds. 33. The Philosopher and the Bull. A philosopher was trying to lead a bull into a pen, but no matter how hard he pulled forward or whipped from behind, the stubborn bull refused to move. A farmer passing by saw this, smiled, and plucked a handful of grass from the ground, placing it in front of the bull's mouth. To the philosopher's surprise, the bull obediently followed the farmer into the pen. After reflecting on this experience, the philosopher derived the following insights. Everyone has their own strengths, just as a philosopher may not match a farmer in handling livestock. To get others to do something, coercion is ineffective. No amount of effort will suffice. In reality, what we need to provide is a bit of sweetness and hope in life. Things in this world don't always go as we wish. By putting ourselves in others' shoes, we can make situations smoother. 34. The Stone Eagle That Learned to Fly. A sculptor once crafted an eagle from stone so lifelike it seemed as though it was truly soaring high in the sky. A philosopher, upon seeing this, approached the artist and asked, "How were you able to make this stone appear as if it's flying?" The sculptor replied, "Actually, I simply removed the unnecessary parts from the block of stone." A stone, by removing the excess, was transformed into a vivid eagle in flight. This served as a profound reminder to the philosopher. Even a person as dense as a rock can ascend, provided they shed the superfluous. In essence, life's temptations are like the excess on the stone. Facing temptation, if one desires everything and refuses to relinquish anything, ultimately nothing will be discarded. Life then becomes a heavy stone, and we will never become eagles stretching our wings to fly high. Therefore, if one wishes to soar, it is essential to let go of the extraneous aspects of oneself. 35. The Shepherd and the Invisible String. There was a shepherd walking ahead, his steps moving rhythmically from left to right. Following him was a sheep, tagging along without any physical tether, yet it mirrored the shepherd's steps as if bound by an unseen connection. A philosopher, observing this peculiar sight, couldn't help but inquire, "You're not using a rope to lead the sheep, so how does it stay so close to you without wandering off?" The shepherd replied, "What binds the flock to me isn't a rope, but the care and affection I have for them." This response left the philosopher in deep thought. Maintaining a bond between individuals doesn't rely on the ropes of physical constraints or supervision, but on the nurturing presence of love and attention. 36. The farmer's gourd. Once upon a time, a farmer grew a massive gourd. Instead of rejoicing, the farmer found himself in a dilemma, unsure of what to do with it. He feared it would break if used to store wine, and if cut in half to make a scoop, there was no bucket large enough to match. A philosopher, upon witnessing this, said the following: "People only know to use gourds for holding water, unaware that beyond this, a gourd can also serve as a boat on the water." Isn't that wonderful? Many people tend to imprison their thinking within the gourd, forever unable to find a way out. However, in reality, by breaking away from old habits and thoughts, we can elegantly navigate through mental bottlenecks and discover a broader world. 37. Roots and blossoms. Once upon a time, there was a young man who loved to boast about himself in front of others. One day, his master took him to a tree and asked, "Do you find this tree's crown beautiful?" "Of course, its blossoms are so fresh and lovely," the disciple quickly replied. Just then, a breeze passed through, making a rustling sound. The master inquired further, "Did you hear that?" "Indeed, the sound of the tree's crown is so crisp and pleasant," the young man eagerly responded. "But do you know what the crown of a tree is called in Chinese? It's called mat," said the master, then pointed at the tree's base. "Do you see the roots? Do you hear any sound from the tree's roots?" The young man frowned and answered, "Well, the roots are buried underground. How can I see them? Moreover, the roots are silent. How can I hear them, master?" "But do you know what the roots of a tree are called in Chinese? They are called ben," the master explained. This means, although the tree's blossoms may rustle and draw attention from those around, they are very fragile and can easily break with a strong wind, losing their value thereafter. Whereas the roots, though silent and even buried under the ground, are the foundation of life. Without them, there would be no tree, no leaves, branches, and of course, the blossoms on the crown wouldn't have the chance to rustle and show off in the wind. Do you understand my point? The young man bowed his head, nodding quietly, absorbing the deep meaning of his master's teachings. From that day on, he became more reserved, spoke with greater consideration, and especially never boasted in front of others again. 38. The spike grass, half a year in preparation for maturity. There are no shortcuts to success that don't involve hard work. To achieve anything significant, one must put in a tremendous amount of effort, face countless failures, and through these, gather invaluable experience that paves the way for the future. In a concert, a musician captivated the audience with his exceptional performance skills. After the concert, a music critic approached him to compliment his rare genius. The musician responded, "Everyone likes to call me a genius after seeing my successful performances, but they don't realize how much hard work it took to earn that reputation." The law of the spike grass. In the African savanna grows a plant known as spike grass, also referred to as the king of the prairie. However, its growth process differs significantly from that of ordinary plants. In its first 6 months, spike grass remains one of the shortest grasses, barely growing a hand's length and appearing weak and pitiful. It's almost impossible to notice its growth during this period. But in the second half of the year, with the arrival of the rainy season, the spike grass grows rapidly, as if by magic. Each day, it shoots up quickly, and within a few days, it can reach over 2 meters tall, forming a sturdy grass wall. Why does spike grass grow so fast? Unlike other plants rushing to grow in spring, spike grass takes a different path, embedding its roots deep into the earth. Research shows its roots can extend up to 28 meters underground. Thanks to its deep-rooted system, spike grass can absorb abundant nutrients and water from the soil. This growth strategy might seem leisurely, but in reality it's quietly laying the groundwork for its future, patiently gathering strength and waiting for the right moment, the arrival of a heavy rain. Focusing on internal growth, spike grass remains unaffected by the flashy growth of other plants. It does not compete but concentrates on its own steady development. When the heavy rains finally come, spike grass unleashes the power it has long accumulated. Standing tall amid the rain and wind, it grows against the trend, quickly creating a miraculous sight. To most, spike grass's rapid growth in a short time is all they see, unaware of how deeply its roots had to anchor to support such swift development and withstand storms. Like the tale of the talented musician and the spike grass, both remind us that the success and miracles we admire result from our own efforts. We shouldn't worry if our efforts seem unrewarded for now, as all these efforts are gradually accumulating for our future. The biggest difference between success and failure isn't in IQ or capability, but in persistence and perseverance. The great writer Tagore once said, "Light is right in front of you. If you can endure the pain and walk through the darkness, your burden will become a gift, and your suffering will light your path." May those pursuing their dreams, no matter the hardships faced in life, know to turn them into a guiding light for their future, illuminating their path forward. 39. Idleness turns us into the ineffective. There was a young woman who, after graduating from college, secured a job at a prestigious company with her impressive educational background. She thought her life was set. After completing her work, she would return home to leisurely watch TV shows. Meanwhile, a co-worker of hers would spend after hours engaged in research and further study. She often mocked this co-worker, believing her own education superior and that her colleagues' efforts were futile. Despite their jobs being similar, requiring punctual attendance and similar daily tasks, it wasn't until the end of the day that the true talents of each were evident. After 5 years, as the professional landscape evolved requiring company restructuring and layoffs, she found herself unexpectedly on the list. It was then she realized that in facing a younger generation, mere physical and intellectual capacity was insufficient. Years of accumulated experience were key. 8 years post-graduation, she hadn't advanced beyond her initial position, while a new wave of talented young professionals emerged. Thus, she faced numerous challenges competing with them. Life is akin to rowing against the current. If you don't progress, you'll inevitably fall behind. In a world filled with skilled and exceptional individuals, one must continually enhance their own value. The warmth of lying in bed does not compare to the warmth of a promising future. The stories in books always contain life lessons to be learned. Laziness and complacency only lead to a desensitized life. People often lament that a midlife crisis caught them off guard, but in reality, before its abrupt arrival, there were numerous opportunities to prevent it from reaching them. Perhaps it was the choice of comfort that gave it the chance to strike. 40. The perils of excessive leisure. Austrian writer Stefan Zweig once remarked, "Every gift from fate carries a hidden value." There was a man in England who went from being a poor garbage collector to a millionaire overnight thanks to a stroke of luck in winning a lottery prize. He quit his job, indulged in luxury cars, substance abuse, prostitution, and gambling. Within just 7 years, he had squandered £9.7 million and ended up destitute, abandoned by his wife and daughter. It's clear that material possessions can only satisfy temporary happiness. When people live in indulgence and recklessness, it becomes challenging to discover genuine happiness from within. Idle time might bring temporary joy, but its emptiness, repeated over and over, can eventually lead to boredom. While being busy can be exhausting, Organizing and dividing your time into smaller segments might allow you to achieve wealth, happiness, and inner fulfillment. Throughout the decades of our lives, we ought to contribute something to this world. Never regard idleness as a divine gift. What entertains and pleases you today might destroy you tomorrow. Of course, being too busy or too idle isn't advisable. Finding leisure in busyness and busyness in leisure, having something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to is the most fulfilling state of life. When you start to appreciate time, utilizing and organizing it wisely, you're essentially extending your lifespan and enhancing the value of your life. Living life to the fullest means never giving up on any phase of life. 41. Respecting others is respecting yourself. One day, there was a commotion at the entrance of a school. It turned out a woman was berating the school's security guard. She had come to meet a friend who worked at the school, asking the guard to let her in, and mentioned she had given him a pass earlier that morning. However, the guard, following protocol, requested she sign in. The woman, finding this unnecessary, snapped at the guard. "Aren't you just a guard? What right do you have to ask this of me?" The guard, slightly angered, responded loudly, "This is a school. To keep the kids safe, we have to do this." Unexpectedly, the woman began crying loudly, drawing the attention of onlookers to judge the situation. She even threatened to complain about the guard to the principal. Fortunately, her friend soon arrived. Being understanding, she quickly apologized to the guard, which calmed the situation down. Onlookers felt the woman lacked education and respect for others, creating an unnecessary spectacle. In reality, every job and person deserves respect, whether a doorman or a janitor. Empathy, understanding, and tolerance towards others are not easily achieved, but are fundamental virtues that require cultivation. In human interactions, life can often mirror back at us. Smile at someone, and they will likely smile back. If you are polite to others, they tend to respond in kind. Morals can compensate for the lack of talent, but talent can never make up for the absence of morals. Respecting others is, in essence, respecting oneself. 42. Grateful for life. Parents and teachers often instruct children to have kind and benevolent hearts, for the most respected person in the world is one who maintains their goodness. There's a moving story about an American man named Aaron who struggled to find work to prevent his 2-year-old child from going hungry. One day, he finally got an interview. He had been eagerly preparing for a long time. On the morning of the interview, with only $2 in his pocket, he took the bus to the company. En route to his interview, the bus was involved in an accident. The bus stopped, but no one seemed ready to help. Aaron asked the driver to wait for him as he went to help the injured person, but the driver said, "The bus won't wait. I'll leave if you get off." After a moment of internal struggle, Aaron chose to help the injured person, sacrificing his valuable interview opportunity. Fortunately, the victim was quickly taken to the hospital for timely treatment. Aaron said, "I missed that job opportunity because a job can come back, but a human life is irreplaceable. All I could think about was saving the person." Luckily, thanks to his kindness, his story was covered by several media outlets. He then received numerous job offers, including one from a company that hired him without an interview. Aaron's previously impoverished life greatly improved due to the support of kind-hearted people. Kindness is like a circle. If you are grateful and live kindly, one day all the good deeds you've done will be rewarded in various ways. As an author once wrote in an article, "Sometimes kindness doesn't pay you back immediately, but it will bring you surprises. Sometimes kindness returns in a different form, allowing you to experience its vastness and richness." 43. Learning to be human above all. Learning to be human above all is a saying by the renowned educator Dao Han Tri. In life, we must learn to be responsible for ourselves and to treat others with sincerity. Learning to be tolerant, to respect others, and to see things from their perspectives is crucial. Appreciating life, preserving kindness, and treating everyone well are fundamental. Living a life grounded in integrity is essential. Integrity serves as a measure of a person's character, influencing their success or failure, and provides their most substantial support. Possessing good character is our greatest asset. 44. Assist those in urgent need, not the lazy. Aid the desperate, not the poor by default. When others find themselves in dire straits, lending them a hand to overcome their difficulties is an act of kindness and virtue. However, assisting the lazy or the habitually poor may only lead to dependency, turning them into a bottomless pit that eventually drains you as well. A certain business owner, after achieving success, generously built 258 houses for the needy and elderly in his hometown. What was intended as a charitable act quickly turned into a lesson in ingratitude as demands grew unreasonably. "My son is getting married soon. One house isn't enough. We need a few more. Even though I moved to the city, I grew up here, so I deserve a house too. You demolished our old house besides giving us a new one. You should also pay us compensation." Their greed knew no bounds, causing the businessman great distress and leading him to avoid returning home for the Lunar New Year for 2 years. Every return visit just brings more demands and requests, so it's better I don't go back. The film The Godfather encapsulates this sentiment. Kindness without limits only invites further demands. Compassion without principles only leads to unreasonableness. When kindness is limitless and without principles, good intentions can breed malice, allowing others to take your generosity for granted and inadvertently crush your goodwill. Once you're unable to assist further, their gratitude may turn to resentment. Therefore, it's wise to assist those truly in need and not those who refuse to help themselves, to help those in critical need, not just anyone who is poor. Practicing kindness also involves knowing when it's appropriate and when it's not. 45. Only through inner strength can one save themselves. There was a monkey that got injured, its belly scratched by a branch, bleeding profusely. Upon seeing another monkey, it showed its wound, saying, "Look how painful my injury is." Each monkey that saw the wound offered comfort and various remedies. It kept showing its injury to friends for advice, but eventually the wound became infected, leading to its death. An elder monkey remarked that it had caused its own demise. In truth, sharing your troubles with others doesn't always solve the problem. Sometimes it's better to endure silently and find solutions on your own. Life's challenges shouldn't always be shared with everyone. Facing difficulties with a positive attitude and striving for change is most crucial. 46. Learning to rely on yourself. There once was a bird perched on a tree branch, which had never feared the branch breaking because its trust was not in the branch, but in its own wings. Rather than worrying about the future, it's better to strive to change the present. On the path to success, it is only through relentless effort that one can find security and achieve great results. As you grow, only you can provide the most reliable support and assurance for yourself. After all, relying on mountains, they may crumble. Relying on people, they may leave. Relying on oneself is the sturdiest foundation. 47. Better to play the fool. 2 patients were diagnosed with a terminal illness. One had exceptionally keen hearing and overheard the doctor saying they only had 3 months to live. The other was hard of hearing. Even if you spoke directly to him, he struggled to understand clearly. Strangely, not only did he survive beyond 3 months, but 2 years have passed, and he remains well and untroubled, while the one with keen hearing did not make it past 3 months. In life, there are instances where being ignorant is better than being aware. Being slow is preferable to being quick-witted, and being foolish is more advantageous than being knowledgeable. This is the essence of the often quoted saying, "Better to play the fool." In reality, life inherently embraces folly. Joy and happiness are hidden within this foolishness. 48. Caring for yourself is creating blessings for future generations. A janitor once invested in a healthcare card, sparking curiosity among those who wondered why she would spend her modest earnings on such an expense. Her response offered a profound awakening. 10 years ago, my father saved $80 million but ended up spending it all on his medical bills. A few years back, the $200 million I had saved over more than a decade was also depleted by hospital expenses for my father. It felt as though we were working for the hospital. I don't want my child to endure the same fate, working for the hospital's benefit. So, I believe it's essential to maintain my health before any illness strikes. The cost of healthcare may seem high, but it pales in comparison to the expenses of treating illnesses. Indeed, a deeply insightful perspective. 49. Optimism, life's greatest asset. Bale is known by everyone as the world's greatest optimist. One day, as a flash flood swept through the village, Bale was found sitting on his roof, cheerfully singing away. A neighbor paddled by and shouted, "Bale, all your ducks got swept away." "No worries, they all know how to swim." "Your wheat field is completely flooded too." "No problem, this year's harvest was a bust anyway." "Oh my, the water has reached your windows." "Not an issue, I've been wanting to clean the windows. This way I'll save some effort." Sometimes an optimistic outlook is indeed life's greatest asset. Approaching situations with optimism can make difficulties and annoyances seem minor, turning challenges as easy as flipping a hand. 50. What have we missed in our lives? Every opportunity in life is a gift from above, even something as simple as hearing a beautiful note of music. More importantly, we need keen vision to recognize and cherish these precious moments. On a cold winter morning at a Washington subway station, a man took out a violin and began to play. He performed 6 pieces by Bach, with a worn hat placed in front of him for tips. To the rushing crowd, he was just another anonymous street performer. 3 minutes passed before a middle-aged man slowly approached, listened briefly, and then hurried away. 4 minutes in, the musician received his first coins from a woman who tossed a few dollars into the hat without stopping. 6 minutes later, a young man leaned against the wall to listen, but soon checked his watch and left. 10 minutes into the performance, a 3-year-old boy stopped, fascinated by the violinist, but his mother pulled him away despite his reluctance. Several other children also showed interest but were led away by their parents. After 45 minutes and 6 songs of the 1,097 people who passed by, only 6 stopped to listen for a while, and 20 gave money before moving on. Unknown to the passers-by, the subway violinist was Joshua Bell, one of the greatest musicians in the world. He played some of the most exquisite music ever written on a violin worth $3.5 million. Just 2 days before, Bell had sold out a theater in Boston where seats averaged $200 to hear him play. The subway performance was a social experiment by the Washington Post on people's taste and priorities. The conclusion was stark. Even with the world's finest music played by a top musician on an invaluable instrument, we struggle to pause even briefly in our hurried lives. What else of value do we miss? In common perception, a great musician like Joshua Bell wouldn't be expected to appear in a subway station, just as people seeking divine wisdom often look to remote and secluded places. Yet sometimes, greatness or profound truth lies right before us, unnoticed. Lao Tzu, who lived in the state of Chu and served as the keeper of archives, was known to be deeply knowledgeable in rituals and ethics, but only Confucius truly recognized his greatness. After meeting Lao Tzu, Confucius likened him to a dragon that rides the winds to the heavens, unfathomable. Confucius visited Lao Tzu several times, pondering the great way he spoke of, and eventually reached enlightenment. Hearing the way in the morning, one can die content in the evening. If Lao Tzu were among us today, appearing amidst the ordinary like Joshua Bell in a subway, would we have the insight of Confucius to recognize him? Or would we, like those commuters, rush by, seeing but not perceiving? What ultimately are we missing in our lives? 51. Are you okay? In human interactions, just a single phrase can make someone feel warm and comfortable, while another might harbor resentment for a lifetime. As a teacher, part of my duty is to educate, so I often advise the parents of my students that if a child accidentally breaks a dish or damages an object, the first thing parents should say is, "Are you okay?" Caring for and loving a child must always take precedence over concern for material objects. After all, a broken dish can be replaced, but scolding or physically punishing a child can harm the relationship, like shattered glass that can never be seamlessly repaired. Before 1990, Taiwan's educational curriculum included lessons on personal development, character building, and moral cultivation. Textbooks often featured stories about Liu Xuan, a governor during the Eastern Han Dynasty, as teaching material. One story tells of Liu Xuan preparing to attend court in his formal attire when a servant carrying a bowl of soup accidentally spilled it on him. Contrary to the servant's fear of reprimand, Liu Xuan, unfazed, kindly inquired, "Did that spill burn you?" showcasing his generosity and forgiveness. Indeed, caring for others is the foremost lesson in humanity. On another occasion, Liu Xuan was accused by a man of possessing his lost ox. Without a word, Liu Xuan handed over his ox and walked home. The man later found his own ox and returned Liu Xuan's, apologizing for the mistake. Liu Xuan helped him up, saying, "Oxen generally look alike. Mistakes happen. You returned the ox, which is commendable. Why apologize?" Liu Xuan truly epitomizes virtue, commanding deep respect. I vividly remember my first teaching experience in the early 1980s. During a table tennis coaching session, as I was blocking shots, a student named Ka accidentally hit me in the forehead with his paddle, breaking my glasses. Seeing his pale, frozen face, I immediately reassured him, "It's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of." I picked up my broken glasses with lenses shattered and encouraged the students to continue playing. Honestly, I was surprised at my own calm and magnanimity at that moment, thinking, I'm not usually like this. Unquestionably, the historical accounts of Master Liu Xuan had profoundly transformed me. As a teacher, preaching moral lessons not only imprints those ideals in the students, but also deeply ingrains them in the teacher's own heart, fostering self-restraint. This is indeed beneficial. Friendship should prioritize caring for one another over money. Parenthood means valuing your children's well-being over material losses. This embodies the spirit of humanism and guides our conduct in life. 52. Knowing for oneself is enough. After a rainstorm, a young boy found a small snail on the side of the road. He sat down, gently picked it up, and placed it in the grass. "Don't wander off now," his grandmother called out to him. Looking up with his round, cheerful face, he excitedly said, "I'm saving the snail. It was in the middle of the road, which is very dangerous. I'm taking it home." His grandmother, puzzled, asked, "Does the snail know you saved it?" The boy replied, "It probably doesn't." "So, doing this good deed goes unnoticed. Who knows you saved the snail?" she inquired. The boy quickly responded, "I know, and that's enough for me. Saving a snail makes me happy." This simple statement from the child contains a profound life philosophy. We perform good deeds not for acknowledgement from others or even from those we help, but knowing for ourselves is sufficient. Doing good allows us to feel our existence validated, confirming to ourselves that we are virtuous, meeting our own expectations. Thus, we allow ourselves to continue doing good. Just that feeling alone makes us truly happy. This is the greatest significance in doing good deeds, reflecting the original wish each of us has. Sadly, today, many people are driven by pragmatism and self-interest, distorting their actions. When we help others, we often expect gratitude or hope our deeds are recognized and praised. If these expectations are not met, many are unwilling to do good. However, letting others know we've done good is understandable, but knowing ourselves that we've done good is what truly matters. After all, we live to see for ourselves, not for others. How much others praise and repay us, in the end, it's our inner self that must affirm our actions. The happiest person is the one genuinely satisfied with themselves. If the whole world praises you, but inside you feel guilty for wrongdoings, unworthy of such praise, then peace and happiness remain elusive. Many philosophers argue that the world is full of illusions, and only in our hearts lies the truest reality. This indeed reflects a deep and meaningful philosophy.